Virginia won its matchup against Northwestern in the Greenbrier tip-off in West Virginia, 83-78. J-Man, this was a game that was back and forth for much of the contest. Some big-time shots down the stretch that both teams were able to convert. I believe Northwestern led by as many as 7 in the second half, and yet Virginia clawed back, took the lead, had a massive block from Johan Grunlow on Arrington Page, who had an excellent game in the final minute there that really sealed the win. But both teams battled foul trouble. Both teams had multiple guys foul out, and yet this was pretty entertaining matchup. Even though the broadcast in a hotel ballroom, it wasn't like the best thing I've ever seen. The angles are kind of weird, and it was a little odd seeing all the Skechers basketball propaganda while watching this one. But that's what you get with a corporate sponsorship. But I think we learned some things about Virginia. I will add both of these teams turned around and lost their next games in the Greenbrier tip-off on Sunday. But still, quality game for both. And yeah, I think they told us some things, but I'll turn it to you first just for some of your big picture takeaways for either of these squads.
I will correct you, Riley, real quick. Northwestern won. They beat South Carolina and the by two.
That
So
is on me. I knew it was
you're
a close game. I apologize to the
you
Northwestern faithful.
you are fine. I wanted to save you before the comments got to you.
Thank
So
you.
what I saw though was honestly this was like a March Madness game. I feel like I've been on so many recaps on this channel, and I'm like, this feels like a March Madness game. But these matchups are so good, and
Mhm.
I just thought it was a very solid performance. And my God, D. Ritter is awesome. The ACC just has some dudes on some teams to where they can lead their team as far like almost to the promised land. And that's what happened with Virginia. Like D. Ritter was the only guy essentially on the team to shoot over 50% from the field in the game, knowing he's the number one option. He goes 9 of 15, 8 rebounds, and has a block. And with 26 points, he fouls out in the second half. But God, he's so damn good. And honestly, for the tell of the tape, as simple as the best player for Virginia showed up and the best player for Northwestern struggled. And that's just hats off to Virginia and what they did defensively. Their game plan against Martinelli had 9 points on 3 of 12. The only game this season, I think he scored under 20, not even double digits, under 20. And Virginia held him to 3 of 12. So just a really good win by Virginia. I know they had a letdown against Butler after this, but you know what? Like it's it's bound to happen. It's November tournament basketball. This is why you play these weird tournaments. I know Dan Hurley had a protest after he got swept in Maui last year. He's like, I'm never playing in these tournaments again because I can't make adjustments or whatever the hell he was crying about. But that's why you play them in November to really see what your team's made of in a tournament environment. And this was a very emotional, gritty win for Virginia. Turned around, had a letdown spot with Butler, and then Northwestern straight bounce back against South Carolina and 2 point win. So
Mhm.
two tournament teams that went at it, really good game, and just Virginia pulled it out on top.
Yeah, I left still very impressed by Northwestern. I think you hit the nail on the head in calling them a tournament team. I feel like this is a unit that can get back there. I know Jaden Reed struggled today in the matchup with South Carolina. They still got the dub, but I thought he was all over this one, just imprinting it on both ends of the court. Had two steals, and I think his defensive like tenacity. We talked about it some in the preview where Northwestern knows how to muck it up, and that's sort of been their identity of, having the Chase Audijas of the world who can apply heavy ball pressure, force a lot of turnovers, and then I mean even Arrington Page down low, like he didn't come up with any blocks in this game, but I still thought when you look at the numbers of Grunlow, where 2 for 6 from the field, and I believe got him into a little bit of foul trouble, not to the extent of DeRitter or some of the others, but still, I thought Page held his own down there and was really good on the other end. I mean, hit two massive threes in this one, and they really let him cook in terms of just running the offense through him on a night where Martinelli struggled. But yeah, with Reed, I think that he was the bigger takeaway to me for Northwestern, just in the sense of what a scouting win it is for Chris Collins. I mean, this was a guy who averaged 12 and 5 at South Florida last year. This was not like a home run, an apparent home run in the portal that anyone could have found. It was like a great job on the staff to recognize what they had in this kid and to give him the keys in a moment like this where he got to the free throw line 14 times, went 2 for 3 from three, and it just seemed like whenever they needed a spark, that's who they went to. You look down the layup he had, I think he was the only one who was making his free throws. That Northwestern struggled some down the stretch in terms of like even closing the gap, but Yeah, they got a couple of big plays out of KJ Wyndham down the stretch as well, but just ultimately not enough. However, I just think when you look at this Virginia team that they held to sub 40% from the field, I mean, they sent them to the free throw line a lot, and that was ultimately the difference there. But it's like, this Virginia team, excuse me, Northwestern team, they can do what they have done under Collins and force a bunch of turnovers, get those transition opportunities, and win an ugly basketball game, as we saw against South Carolina 2 days later. So yeah, I wouldn't be panicked at all about them and feel like it's just another solid, steady unit that's going to give Big Ten teams a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it was a weird game, dude. It was a weird game because Virginia, again, going from Tony Bennett to Ryan Odom, you shoot 38%. You might not get 50 points if you're playing with Tony Bennett. You get over 80 for shooting 38%. Granted, you had 21 offensive rebounds. That was the tell of the tape right there.
Mhm.
I know Northwestern fans were like, well, foul trouble. We had 29 fouls, so they're 22. Our starting five had 5-4, 5-4-4. So I understand Northwestern fans. Trust me,
Mhm.
I get that gripe, and I'll let you have it. But the offense rebounding. Like Northwestern held Virginia to 38% from the field, 21 from three. But when you give up 21 offensive rebounds, you're going to lose that ball game.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's essentially what happened. Too many second chance points or even just attempts for Virginia got them the 5 point win. It's just very funny. A team that shot 38% gets over 80 points, and a team that shot damn near 50% does not score 80 points. It's just
yeah.
that's a crazy stat to look at if you're box score watching. It's like, how does that even happen?
Yeah, no, how does it happen? Well,
30 free throws, you make 30 free throws. That's how it happens.
that's how it happens.
Yeah, that's how it happens. But it's just crazy
Well,
that like Reed had 11 of 14 from the line, and that was literally the only person it seemed like from Northwestern to go to the line, and then Virginia goes 30 of 36. So I'm sure Chris Collins wasn't happy with that. But
mhm,
what Northwestern did defensively was magnificent. I mean, Virginia only had 8 assists. Like Dallin Hall was pretty much a non-factor. He had 1 assist, and that's what he does is set up guys to
mhm.
score. And to hold him to 1 assist on top of making Malik Thomas shoot 3 of 11. It's a great game plan by Northwestern. They just couldn't finish defense possessions, and that's what ultimately cost them.
Yeah, we can talk about Thomas a little bit. Just turn it over to the Virginia side of things again. Like, you mentioned sub 40% from three, still hit 80 because they got to the line so much. But I mean, 8 for 19 on layups, that's not going to cut it. Again, I would say give that a testament to Arrington Page for where he's improved on that side of the ball. But looking at this Virginia team, yeah, you hit on it. Tez DeRitter, he was the difference maker who basically won them. I would still say he won them the game despite fouling out with 4 minutes left in this one. Like he was so impressive and it's just such a workhorse on the glass and gives you those second chance points to where it gives you such a high margin for error when you have an off game for Malik Thomas. Now he's the one who I know you were high on him going into the year and really high on this class, this transfer class that Virginia brought in. But this was by far and away his worst game of the season. You mentioned 3 for 11, 1 of 4 from three. On top of that, had 4 turnovers. And even going back to Jaden Reed and what he can do for Northwestern at the point of attack, I thought Chris Collins did a good job using him to make life hard on Malik Thomas. And is that something where, for Virginia, is that a concern going forward as you move into playing more power conference opponents when you need I get DeRitter's awesome, but you still need Thomas to be that lead guard in this system.
Yeah, I mean, you need Thomas to be on his A game when you play ACC play this year because there are no slouches. But the good news for Virginia is he did bounce back against the Butler in the loss. He had 24 on 9 of 17. So he was efficient. He's finding his rhythm in the offense still, like as most people are, especially transfers going into a new system. And so I still have the stock in Malik Thomas. I still have the stock in Virginia. They just it's never fun to see your scorer go 3 of 11. And normally when
Mhm.
we talk about Malik Thomas shooting 3 of 11, we're talking about Arkansas Malik Thomas. We're not talking about Virginia Malik Thomas. So this is the first on the show on a recap. We're talking about Malik Thomas of UVA shooting a bad percentage. But he'll be fine. He'll be fine. I know he had 4 turnovers in this game. He had 3 assists. Whereas the team total had 8 assists to 11 turnovers and won the game. Like that's just crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
I think Northwestern fans would be right if they want to gripe about the refs of this one. It's a
Yeah,
really physical game, like
yeah.
it's it. I don't know.
And look,
There are a little too many fouls for my liking on both sides. I'll
and I was gonna say Riley, and I'm a Duke fan, so like I always get a bad whistle. So I'm always on to the refs because Duke never gets a favorable whistle. So I'm with Northwestern fans here with Chris Collins. Hey, give my guys a fair whistle. I never get one.
This is the that's the brotherhood coming out in full force. The last guy I wanted to touch on for Virginia was Chance Mallory because I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
And that dude, he's like 5'10 max, yet he just absolutely battles. And I think he provides such a visible spark. I know the scout on him even coming into this year was, undersized and good, not great burst. I think he looks pretty explosive when he gets into the lane, and he's good for a few sick assists per game. And I get that Virginia as a whole, like again, Northwestern took them out of rhythm and didn't really give them any easy opportunities. But I mean, the one assist that Chance Mallory had, I think he was driving baseline, kicked out to a shooter. Was like really nice. And then on top of it too, he's giving you a defensive spark as well. Just kind of getting it done on both ends, and it just seems like every time he checks into the game, it's instant energy. And the fact that he's averaging over 10 points per game on the season, like looking even going into this year, when you survey the depth of this guard room and the perimeter core for Virginia, I kind of thought he'd be more like a 10-minute per game guy, like only bringing energy, but he's giving you a legit 20 plus minutes a night and can run the offense in spurts. I mean, again, you want to talk about the rebounding as well that Virginia had in this game, had 8 rebounds at his height. It just seems like such a spark can be dependent on for Chance Mallory, but even just calling him a spark plug, it seems like it does him a little bit of disservice because he has so much more skill than that and just plays with so much poise.
Yeah, I mean he's all heart too. Like he's a dog, and like you said, he's 5'10", had 8 rebounds in this game, 16 points off the bench, but 8 rebounds stand out to me. Like that you can't teach effort, and you're 5'10" and you get 8 rebounds. Are you kidding me? Off the bench, he's freshman too. Like he likes he's comfortable in his role already. Coming off the bench as a freshman, and he's excelling in it because his effort is through the roof. Jakari White didn't give Virginia much in this game, and I was high on Jakari coming in
Hmm.
the season, and I think Chance Mallory is part of that reason. I mean, Jakari White only played 13 minutes, Chance Mallory played 25, and it just showed that he was the right guy in this game for Virginia to be in the backcourt and give the Cavaliers something, actually more than something, as he had 16 points, second leading scorer on the team in the 5-point win. But yeah, I'm glad you touched on his rebounds because 5'10" dude getting 8 rebounds a game. Northwestern, I mean, that's very impressive.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Uh, Kind of wrapping this one up in terms of let's go like Big Ten standings and ACC standings where we sort of see these teams falling into place like at this time. Like, where do you see Northwestern in terms of how they stack up to the rest of the Big Ten?
Oh man, you put me on the spot with Northwestern. We talked about. I'm eating a cookie, by the way. Sorry, everybody. I'm eating a cookie. Homemade. I'm at my mom's house. Homemade chocolate chip on a Sunday night. Give me a break here. Um, I would say we joked or kind of tongue in cheek about this team. Is this going to be the top half of the Big Ten or the bottom half? And they proved me they're top half. I think they're going to be, God, I would say top six in the Big Ten right now. I would comfortably probably put them like sixth right there off the top of my head.
I I think they're gonna fall that area as well. If I'm like looking at it right now, I'd say Purdue, Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State feel confident they're better. Wisconsin's probably better. But then after that, there's this sort of muddled middle of like UCLA, USC, Indiana, Ohio State, Iowa, Northwestern, Nebraska, where like I wouldn't be surprised if any of those teams finish fifth. Like I feel like that those teams just all run the gamut of it, but I would comfortably put Nebraska in that tier, and I guess you can throw Washington in there as well, just because of the talent level. Even though with Hans Steinbach injured, they haven't quite played up to par, and I mean got taken to overtime by Southern. But yeah, I think just watching them against Virginia, and I keep going back to Arrington Page where like him doing it on both ends of the court and how physical he is around the basket. Like I mean, he had a nasty dunk on Grunlow in this game. That's like, oh wow, I didn't realize that Page had bounce like that. And then he's also stepping out and hitting threes. And I think when you factor in the high low game you can run with him and Martinelli and just the way those two work off each other. And again, Jaden Reed had 5 turnovers against South Carolina, but was awesome in this game. Like this showed you the full potential of what he is on both sides of the court. To where I'm like, man, they that trio they have, and I think they have enough pieces behind them that what like Collins to me always feels like a the sum is greater. I always mess this up. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. He's that type of coach, to where he
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
need the stars. He kind of just he needs his two go-to guys and he can make do with the rest around him to where I think they're going to be extremely tough to play in Welsh Ryan Arena just with that defense and the way they force turnovers, but they have enough offensive firepower to kind of do what he's been doing the last few years. And I mean he always does less with more. So yeah, I would feel pretty good about Northwestern solidly in the top half, could even get as high as like fifth or sixth in the league, sort of what you were saying. But what about Virginia after this weekend?
I'm still having them top five comfortably in the ACC, top four. Fourth. I just say fourth right now. Let me think. Duke, fifth. I'd say fifth right now. Right now.
Hmm.
Um, golly, yeah, I would put what Duke, no particular order. Duke, Carolina, State, and then probably Virginia. What am I? Who am I
You got to
missing?
have Louisville.
Louis. Oh, thank you. Yes, yeah. So Duke, Louisville, North Carolina, NC State, Virginia.
I think that's how I would go with it too. When you look at the top of the ACC right now, I'm like, I don't know if this is me wearing some Carolina blue and Argyle glasses, but I sort of feel like any out of Duke, UNC, or Louisville could win the league. And then NC State and Virginia, I would say, are next in line. I think Virginia could leapfrog State. We still haven't seen State play a power conference team. But when you factor in just how effortlessly they're scoring 90 to 100 points against these mid majors, I think that means something. Darion Williams is on another level. Like, I would say that Virginia's probably fallen slightly in my eyes since the season has started because they only beat Central by 21, I believe. Like that one wasn't as dominant as I would have liked. And I think Malik Thomas is, I don't know. I want to, I'm not going to, don't want to be too reactionary with this because that was like truly, I think it was his first bad game. I mean, actually he had 7 points against Ryder. Didn't even notice that. But just with this being a more like up and down performance there, I at least am monitoring that in terms of like, is that a trend we're going to see against better competition or against a more physical defense that can sort of get up under you and pressure you? But yeah, with sort of knocking Virginia down a peg, even then, like DeRitter's better than I expected him to be. But I would just more so say like State's sort of come out of the gate with their hair on fire.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. And they could easily flip-flop in a week or two when
Hmm.
NC State plays Auburn at Auburn on December 3rd. Because, like you said, they haven't played, NC State hasn't played a Power Five opponent. They play with their food a little bit with VCU. They just ran up the score on a few bad teams to make a very impressive early season impression. But, it's going to be interesting for NC State to where we come back to this conversation in 2 weeks, then I would have Virginia possibly fourth
Yeah.
with what NC State has to do. But I like this Virginia team a lot. They're going to be a lot better than what they are right now, just
Hmm.
because they have every position is a new piece essentially in the system. So if I'm a Virginia fan, I'm stoked. Like I know
Yeah.
you're coming off a loss if you're watching this, but I am happy with this team. This is what my advice to college basketball fans, Northwestern and Virginia fans. When you play in a hotel, you take the pros and you ignore the cons because who cares? It's in a hotel. But when you do something good, you take those pros. Cons, you just throw them away. It's fine.
Hey, that's a great spin zone. Great way to take away. For both of these teams took a loss this weekend, but you can still be happy. You can still hold your head high. It all happened in a hotel. These games only like they're partially like mirages anyway. But yeah, so you take the positives, discount the negatives.